Good to be back with you in our second edition of the 2011 Grizzly Connect. But as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, we've decided to change the game a little bit. Bryant Johnson with you from Vistas Restaurant, third floor, Rec Stadium in Alamosa, as we welcome Indira Spence back to Alamosa, back to the U.S. after a whirlwind summer. I've already forgotten all the places you've been racing in track and field. Give me a rundown of every country you've been in over the last 3 months.
Well, I've been to maybe 4 countries, but not racing in all 4. But I've raced in China and Korea this past summer.
And records were shattered in both locations, specifically in South Korea 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, actually, when you dropped your PR down to about 12.9 seconds in the semifinals, had a chance to represent Adams State in the W season, the biggest of stages. Life is good, Indira. Looking back on this summer, how do you explain it?
I mean, I would say this summer was fun. Like, it's the best summer ever, even though it was the longest summer, but it was worth it.
Now, we are actually doing this interview on Thursday. Of course, this is airing on Saturday, but Thursday is Indira's birthday. What else do you have to wish for? I mean, come on now. Everything you probably wanted to accomplish last year, you have. So what was something that today when you woke up and thought, boy, if there's one thing I can do over the next year, what is it going to be?
To be on that podium, that is one thing I would really love next year, the Olympics. So I'm going to work really hard for that one.
321 days from right now, Olympics, London 2012. You had 9 hours at Heathrow at the airport when you were sitting at the airport. Is that a thought that was prevalent in your mind? And what specifically do you have to do to get to the Summer Games?
I think just run my best, just qualify and just stay consistent, and then I would be good.
Knowing that you were able to drop your time to under 13 seconds, that has to be a monumental feeling because you've really waited to unleash that on this type of stage. You've kind of reined it in a little bit and worked out some kinks. Now that you know that you're capable of getting down to 12.9, what's the next step?
It makes me just want to work harder, so I don't want to go back to 13 at all. I think if I go back to 13 O's, I would cry. Like, for real. It feels good, like, running 12.9. It didn't feel like 12.9, but it felt good, and I loved it, and I want to run faster, even faster.
It's Indira Spence, reigning RMAC Track and Field Female Athlete of the Year. There were maybe some mental things that would affect you during the 100 meters 7th, 8th hurdle that could sometimes pose a problem, but it looked like that really was not an issue at all in international competition. How did you overcome some of those problems that persisted?
Well, it was a problem because I hit both. I mean, just the 7th one, that's my enemy hurdle. But I tried not to focus on it. I just ran through it, yeah.
There was so much support from Jamaica. You're from Trelawney, Jamaica, and you had, man, how many international reporters descended on Shenzhen and Daegu all summer? The reports were daily updating us on what was happening with you and some of your teammates. What was the Jamaican pride like?
I think really good, since track and field is such a huge sport for us and everything, and they want us to do good, and there are people in Jamaica that want to see everything, so we have to have that. Yeah.
Knowing that you could be the next female hurdler to really put Jamaica on the map, how much additional pressure but excitement does that put on you?
I mean, I don't feel any pressure. It's more like I'm more anxious, more excited, more motivated. I want to rule my event in my country, so it just makes me want to work harder.
Indira, of course, spent a lot of time overseas this summer and spent time in Shenzhen, China, one of the growing and daunting cities that now exists on the Chinese coast. You stopped by a wishing well at one point during your stay and travels. Do you remember what you wished for when you threw that coin in?
I don't remember, actually, but I hope it's something good. I don't know. I don't remember.
Let's say personal record, because you went ahead and got it. Number 2 in Division II history now. Your time is. You look at the long list of historic accomplishments you've reached. Basically, you might be the top collegiate hurdler in the entire country right now. What's one domestic accomplishment you would like before the summer games, one thing you would like to do before international competition next year, and maybe the RMAC and across the country?
I think just to own the national record, both in the 60 hurdles and the 100-meter hurdles. And I want to set it so high so that it will be there for a while. Yep.
You're close, and knowing that you're close probably motivates someone like you who's always all business and is always so focused. I'm sure that really affects you in terms of your preparation. So what is it specifically going to take? Waking up an hour earlier, trying to work a new routine into your system. Is there any idea that you have right now what you need to do?
I think eating better, like healthier foods, that's the only thing, because I train really hard and I can improve on that, but I think the one thing I need to improve on is just eating right.
Glad you brought this up, because South Korea, China, they wanted to introduce you to the local cuisine and culture. You were at a food market and lizard was being passed around. I mean, tell me about some of these options that you had to dine on.
That was in China. And I was passing by and I saw this restaurant and there were lots of people and I just couldn't figure out what that was, but took a step closer and it was lizards and they liked it, but I never tried it because I was scared.
What was the craziest thing you tried overseas?
I don't know, because I eat a lot of food and not knowing what it is.
Indira, if you really want to go ahead, and this is a tip, okay? If you want to go ahead and take some more time off of your hurdling, the little package that says nutritional information, I'd look into it.
I do, but sometimes it looks like chicken and it looks like fish, so I just eat it.
It's Indira Spence, ASC track and field, heading back for her senior season for the upcoming 2011-2012 year. You're a really modest person, which I hope you weren't when you were returning from South Korea. You know, they give you the declaration, the custom declaration. Come on, were you tempted just to put world champion on there? Just if you had to declare anything from your trip overseas, let them know what kind of athlete they were dealing with?
Not really. It never came to mind at all. Maybe if I did think about it, I would have probably wrote that, yeah.
But you're on that flight, 15 hours, trying to get back to the U.S., trying to get back to Alamosa, and of course you said you were homesick. Did it sink in? And if it did, what was a thought that came to your mind as you were looking over this huge jumbo jet sailing across, several seas heading back to the U.S.?
All I kept thinking about is, what is it going to be like when I come back to school? Like, that's all I kept thinking about. I don't know. I don't know. I just kept thinking about how the people going to react to me, and yeah, that's all.
You've been back for a week. You've had a party thrown for you, and you've had a chance to try and get caught up in your schoolwork. What has the reaction been?
It's been fun. Like, people really notice me, and they really, congratulate me and stuff. And I like that, and I think that's nice.
ASC always has a lot of attention on them for track and field, knowing that you're defending world records and defending domestic records set in Turlock, California during the national championships last year in Northern California. What do you think the reaction around this team and you is going to be next year?
I don't know. I think the team will, I would have to, be a role model to my team, because they're going to be I've been to the highest of the highest. So I guess I just have to be a role model for all of them, motivate them and help them to do good, do better.
Well, keep an eye on Indira, obviously. 321 days away from opening ceremonies in London, a location that you would love to be in representing Jamaica and, of course, Adams State. Indira, thanks for chatting with us.
You're welcome.